Okay, hello, boys and girls, men and women of all ages. Welcome to the Take the Black live podcast and chat show. Um, I am Dan Selcke, the editor of winteriscoming.net, and I am here with who?
Mia Johnson, entertainment editor over on fansided.com.
And we are here to talk about all things fantasy, sci-fi, TV, movies, books, novels, pamphlets, leaflets, entertainment of all kinds, and as always, there always seems to be the most going on, Mia. Even in the coronavirus times, it just does not quit.
It does not. And, I'm kind of ready to dive into that today. I've taken a little break. I'm off on my vacation, and they're like, now here's all this stuff.
Did you enjoy your birthday? Because last week we pre-recorded it, and you get several birthday messages.
Yay! Oh, I have to go back and look at them. But yeah, it was really nice. Went up to Wisconsin, saw some nice, scenery. Enjoyed being on their lakes and rivers, so it was really nice.
Beautiful. And hello, Sherry. Hello, Terry. Good to see both of y'all. We have some controversial things to talk about today. It's Weekend Entertainment. Isn't it amazing how even in the midst of coronavirus, people are still finding things to get, I don't know, to raise hell about and to be furious about, and just, juicy topics are not abating at all. Even though we're all stuck at home. Maybe
it's just
doing more.
Human nature. There's always something.
But first, I thought we would do, hey, Sherry and Terry, I thought we would do some lighter stuff first, just to...
Lighter? This is the most controversial of them all.
Okay, we'll let you guys, we'll let the people watching decide. Jason Momoa of Game of Thrones and Aquaman fame, he had a good run, but I think he never quite found his niche as Khal Drogo or as Aquaman. But now I think we can definitively say he definitely has found the role he was born to play. Jason Momoa is playing a live-action version of Frosty the Snowman, noted Christmas icon, who comes alive when you put a hat in his head, in a new live-action / CGI movie, Frosty the Snowman.
Ooh.
Mia, do we love?
You know what? Well, I've told you my thoughts we need to see the Frosty. I think in the image that we're sharing here is a little round. He's a little, chubby and fun, kind of like a Pillsbury Doughboy. But this Frosty the Snowman, without a doubt, needs to have a six-pack. There's no other way if it's Jason Momoa playing him.
I mean, I imagine it's going to be, a kid's movie just using... Because I think he's going to be like the voice. He's not going to be like... Unfortunately, I was hoping they would put him in makeup and a button nose and a slim fitting tight suit to kind of show off his nice body for Frosty the Snowman. But I'm guessing it's going to be his voice, maybe in a mocap thing, and with the kids walking around him. I mean, it's a fun idea, right?
Yeah, it's a fun idea. I would like to hear. Yeah, I would like to hear his kids or his Frosty the Snowman voice. He's like, happy birthday or something like that. That would be hilarious.
It's he's such I associate him, just because of what he plays, with these kind of fearsome, kind of intimidating guys.
Yeah,
and now they're going to... his star has really, really risen. If he can go from playing Aquaman, a superhero king, to Frosty the Snowman.
Oh, yeah, the range.
Something he can't do.
Reminds me of my favorite Benedict Cumberbatch, who, is like a serious guy who's like Stephen Hawking. He was Doctor Strange, he's Sherlock. And then they're like, and now you can be the Grinch. It's like, all right, I guess I'll be the Grinch.
He was also Smaug. Did you ever see those behind-the-scenes things from The Hobbit where he was crawling on all fours in the dragon mocap suit, just making the faces? It was pretty great. I thought I should have kept that. And as Lisa says, I still want to see Jason play Frosty. That should be fun. I agree. In other light news, have you ever seen The Princess Bride, Mia? Are you familiar with that?
Oh yes, we watched it in class one day. That's public school for you.
In class?
Oh yeah.
What class?
It was it was my science teacher's favorite movie, I guess. So he was like, "I'm putting this on. You've got nothing better to do."
That depresses me a little bit.
Oh yeah.
At least choose something that's relevant. Okay, whatever. So, Princess Bride, 1996, classic, beloved fantasy movie, all the lines, I'm making my Tori, come my father, prepare to die, all that stuff. So, to me, this is the best thing Quibi has done so far. They are remaking The Princess Bride in 10-minute increments, filmed by a number of celebrities who are all at their, quarantining at their homes.
Mm-hmm.
The likes of, tons of folk. The likes of Chris Pine, Tiffany Haddish, Neil Patrick Harris, Hugh Jackman, Elijah Wood, Jack Black, Taika Waititi, of course, he's in everything. John Hamm, Dave Bautista, Josh Gad, Pedro Pascal, and Sophie Turner, who we see here from Game of Thrones as the Dread Pirates Robert.
Beautiful.
With her husband Joe Jonas as Princess Buttercup, which is a smart casting.
That is hilarious. I saw who was it? They released a clip with Jack Black and Pedro Pascal as the mask guy.
Yeah. Wesley.
Wesley, right? That's right. Yeah, that I was like, no, not as the mask. Jack Black was Wesley, and Pedro Pascal was the prepare to die guy.
The guy Montoya.
Yes, the guy with the long name.
Oh, I totally see that.
Yeah.
He is the dead Mandy Patinkin ringer. That's perfect for him. Yeah, I love that for him.
Absolutely perfect. So I really enjoyed that clip. And then I saw that it was going to be a series on TV. I thought it was just like and I was like, oh man, why TV?
I know it's Quibi, but I mean, I gotta say, the best thing Quibi has done so far. Like, I'm still not gonna get it, but this is their best swing easily.
Yeah.
All these people trying to do it. Poor Quibi.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll pull them out.
It could. Josh Gad is in everything, like you said, Taika Waititi. So they've got those, big kind of players to help keep them afloat, at least for a little bit. Well, yeah, go ahead.
Just before we move on, really, really quick, I gotta confess this on the internet in front of everybody. I never saw what was so great about that movie. I never got it. It was just, I think it's cute. I thought it was fun. I never got how those lines became so dominant and just memeable for days and weeks and months and years and decades. But if you like it, good for you. It's a cute little project.
Oh yeah.
Fun time. Okay, hello Sarah, by the way, good to see you. Are we ready for the controversial part of the program?
Ooh, let's dive in.
Before we go on, I'd like to pause and say that we are available, of course, on iTunes, Google Play, wherever podcasts are available. So if you want to hear us blather on your commute, if you still have one, or just, if you're walking around the house in quarantine, feel free to download us there. All right, so there are two heavy topics on hit today. The first actually is not that heavy at all. There is a rumor going around, and it is a rumor, but it's getting some major kind of play right now. Courtesy of a YouTuber named Overlord DVD, who is claiming, because of his sources, and this guy is a guy who did get The Rise of Skywalker spoilers ahead of time. This is a Star Wars story, everybody. Julie, if you're watching, it's a Star Wars story. Sorry. So this gentleman is claiming that there is a plan at Disney to erase the Star Wars sequel movies, The Force Awakens, Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker, from the Star Wars canon, to reset the franchise, basically, because Lucasfilm realizes they have a massive problem on their hands. The Star Wars franchise is all but dead, says he, according to his sources. And so it would be, in this reality, like they would exist in this alternate, separate kind of canon, kind of like the Star Wars Legends things do. So what do you think of that, Mia? Do you, like me, find it to be a ridiculous proposition that has no place in a world bounded by the laws of physics?
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with you. It sounds like a bunch of baloney. It to me sounds like a lot for Disney to invest so much money in 3 movies and creating this legacy and, plastering them all over posters and Funko Pops and all these things, and then being like, but you know what? Just kidding. It never happened. It's just this kind of off. To me, it just sounds so ridiculous. But the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about this is mostly, let's be real, like the vocal fanboys when they don't like something. They're either going to petition to have it remade, or going to harass the actors, or going to jump all these bridges and stuff just to be like, just to justify why they think that it's bad or that it shouldn't exist. I don't know why that is a thing.
Oh, like the why is a topic for like lots of dissertations, right? That's what fascinates me about this. It's that we're like half a year out from the end of the kind of sequel trilogy, and the levels of butthurt that kind of infected parts of the fan are still there. Like, people seethe for so long. There are still folks seething over the end of the Game of Thrones, the way that ended. And just that video, I watched part of it, and he even has like a Photoshop of like Kathleen Kennedy, Lucasfilm president, like grafted onto Emperor Palpatine's body. So like that should tell you kind of where this guy's biases are. And like it's the ability to look like a fact straight in the face and say, that's not it. Like, he's saying, like, Star Wars, Lucasfilm has realized Star Wars is all but dead. Like, what? What are you talking about? Is this the thing that we're going to have the Mandalorian and the Obi-Wan show and the Cassian Andor show and the Ahsoka Tano show? That's the dead franchise? That's the one you're talking about? Mm-hmm. The thing that sells, like, the Funko Pop and the merch and the aircraft carriers full of dolls and plushies every single day? This is what you're talking about? With Taika Waititi making a movie? It's absurd. And just... But again, like, we're talking about it because it gained traction. This guy's video got like 500,000 views in a couple of days. Wow. It's like, I think it's the power of people in just certain people in certain fandoms to get a narrative in their head and to just commit to it. Yeah. Regardless of like what's happening out in the real world. It's very interesting. Yeah. And it's very true. And it's entertaining, but also a little scary. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, it is. It kind of reminds me kind of like on the Marvel side when, you know, the guys didn't like Captain Marvel or Brie Larson. Honestly, I can only imagine because she's a woman and, you know, she's the first solo female superhero. And it sounded like they were trying to come up with all these rumors like, you know, Marvel didn't like working with her or they're going to try to find a way to get her out of the series or something. And the movie performed extremely well, made $1 billion. I would say generally everyone loved it. So I'm not really sure, you know, why.
Too, $1 billion movies.
Yeah, I don't see why they try to, you know, push this type of, you know, talk or try to get people to be on their side and believe that, oh, yeah, that must be true or it must be true just because you say that it's not doing well because in your opinion it sucked, you know, does not in fact mean that, you know, they're in shambles or Lucasfilm thinks, you know, they're on fire or something. Because I assure you they are not on fire. They're not. I feel like
all but dead.
Right. They think they're scrambling in the way that maybe like DC is now I do believe that at some point after Justice League, DC was scrambling, but I still wouldn't even think that they would even go to extreme lengths as to kind of just scrub, you know, the Justice League out of their way or anything like that. Like, come on, give me a break.
I mean, you mentioned DC, which is a perfect. I think we have to take that segue now. Although Lisa has a good comment. I think it's a crazy idea. I agree. Too much money to go back and do again just to please some who didn't like the films. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like, people can't seem to get that through their head. Like, that's not how a corporation thinks. It's just not. Like, they are not. Like, at their corporate board meetings, they're not going, now, we measure success by how successfully we have stayed true to the canon set out in the film. So they're going, like, what made us money and what didn't? The idea that there is, like, a power struggle within the Disney corporate infrastructure to erase films from canon because they were disliked, even though they made billions of dollars, it's ludicrous.
Yeah.
But again, like, narratives are so powerful. Narratives are more powerful than facts. Did you know that? I just found that out. They are more powerful than facts in a lot of instances. For fandom, for politics, for lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Other things. So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of DC, of narratives, of controversy, let's chat a little bit about some heated brouhaha happening in the Twitterverse right now. So you mentioned DC, you mentioned Justice League, how they were scrambling, which I think they probably were, and I think they've kind of turned it around, by the way, a little bit. I think DC has bounced back a bit with Shazam and Wonder Woman and Aquaman, Jason Momoa. It's all connected today. Anyway, They are releasing the Snyder Cut next year on HBO Max, which is the Zack Snyder's ideal vision of Justice League, the movie, which he had to leave in the middle of directing because of family emergency, and Joss Whedon was brought in to direct it. You know, created by the Vampire Slayer, Angel, Firefly, the Avengers director, big name. Okay. Just today or yesterday, Ray Fisher, who played Cyborg in Justice League, one of the superheroes, and not one who was like kind of given a whole lot of screen time. I think the only one who doesn't like have a solo movie either out there or on the way. Basically threw buku shade at Joss Whedon and said, and I will quote, this is Ray Fisher, actor in Justice League, talking about Joss Whedon, director of Justice League. Joss Whedon's on-set treatment of the cast and crew of Justice League was gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable. He was enabled in many ways by Jeff Johns and John Berg, who were two producers on the movie. Accountability is greater than entertainment. So that's pretty serious. What do you make of it?
Yeah, it was interesting because he had, previous to this on like Monday, he had tweeted out a clip from Comic-Con, and he was there. And in the clip, he was answering probably like a fan question. And he was like, yeah, you know, Joss Whedon is cool or something. He was like, it was Zach found a good replacement to help finish up the movie, basically. And that retweeting, he was like, you know, I retract what I said about, you know, what I had just said. And so it's kind of like, oh, what is going on? And so then
I thought he was like talking about like, I don't like the theatrical cut or something. Like, I thought maybe he was just like not getting quite the right words. Like, I didn't think he was, I mean, the obvious intent was I would try myself about Joss Whedon, but I don't know. So I was like, I didn't think that we were going to go there, but now, now it's unambiguous.
Yeah, he really went there, and I mean, these are some really big words to use: gross, abusive, unprofessional, completely unacceptable. Like that to me really kind of sets the tone for. I really don't know what was going on that set, but you know, it's kind of disappointing. Especially because this was like a really big major role for him. He really didn't have anything else going on at the time. And it's funny, I was like looking back at pictures from the premiere, try to get a picture for him for the story I wrote. And it was like he was smiling at the premiere on the red carpet, having so much fun. And it was like, wow, you know, this was an awesome opportunity for him. But it really sucks to hear that, you know, he was apparently treated in this way, or probably he says the cast and the crew were treated this way, which is like, ouch.
I mean, yeah, and there aren't any specifics, which I'm of two minds about, you know, because I feel like when you say something like that, it's obviously very serious.
Yeah.
And then, like, when there are no specifics, it kind of like leaves this vacuum to like you fill it with what you think might have happened. Like, yeah, I've been looking around Twitter now, which, as we know, is always the #1 source for all information that is true and accurate. And people were talking about instances where he wanted like Gal Gadot to do like the Flash falls in your bosom pratfall.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't do it, and he had a stunt double do it. And then more things from his past like started to bubble up. Like there was an incident on, and again, like the problem with all of this is that it's all like kind of conjecture, you know, like there's nothing solid. There's an issue where on Angel, the actress Charisma Carpenter, which by the way, I was a giant fan of Buffy Angel and stuff, was kind of chilled out of the role after she became pregnant, and they had to rewrite the story around her, and then she like didn't get renewed for the next season. And of course, there was the issue a couple of years back when his ex-wife wrote a pretty scathing editorial about just saying that he had affairs, like he uses this kind of veneer of I'm a feminist to get away with exploiting people. And like he never quite went down for this stuff. And I mean, as far as I know, he's still working. And I'm not sure if or I'm not sure what this changes or if this changes anything. Like, do you think like this general? Do you think that we're going to get more, and do we need more?
I would say Yes, and I think that's kind of on Ray Fisher to open up on his own terms when he wants to kind of tell I because it's kind of like in a courtroom. It's like, you are in a way innocent until proven guilty. So you do need, the backup, and him saying these things is kind of like, there are other people who have come out, but it's kind of weird to say be interested to hear what he had to say. But I mean, I think that could set a very big precedent if he did kind of go out and open up a little bit more about this, because, maybe if Josh Whedon really is a terrible person, then everyone else in Hollywood would know, like, hey, let's, let's not keep him around anymore. He really is what people say he is.
I mean, like, now is, I think, a good time to, call people out and, hold people to account. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot of energy in that right now. It would be a good time to do that. And I guess that's where we are. It is kind of a nebulous space. I mean, again, it's hard. Like, on the Wit Club today, or this month, we were talking about problematic creators and how to, like, square bad behavior with something you love. And I'll admit, like, I grew up on Buffy and Angel and Firefly, and you love the Avengers movies.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Back in the day. And just trying to figure out a way to thread the needle through how can you like this person's work when they are behaving badly or have a history of bad behavior. And then you add in, like, the nebulousness of this. And I guess I'm just curious to see what develops and see if there's a bit more meat on the bones of the accusations.
What's interesting about Josh Whedon's character, if I will say, is a couple of friends and we got along to read the Avengers script, the first one, just as, like, something fun to do. And I was like, oh, this has to be very prolific, and it was, and this is a little bit judgy, but I was like, oh, this was like, it was written by, like, a teenage boy or something. It was like a lot of, he had the dialogue down and stuff like that, but some of the scenes are like, oh, and Black Widow gets up like a bat or something like that. And it's like, there were a lot of oof moments, and I was like, I don't feel as bad about my writing. If this guy's getting paid all this money, I think I deserve to be paid a little more than him for my writing. So if one thing helps me sleep at night, seeing at least one example of his work and being like, oh, that's really how it is and how he acts, then maybe, we let the world decide.
It's so interesting how, like, times change and things, like, because there was a time when Joss Whedon seemed like he was, like, on the progressive forefront of kind of moving the conversation forward on things like gender, at least, not race. He was never really good with that. But, I mean, some people just seem to age out of that, and, like, what was pioneering 30 years ago, 20 years ago, then times change, and suddenly you're like, maybe the best thing to do is step aside and let someone new come in who has the next generation of ideas to go forward with things.
Yeah.
Do you have any other thoughts? Because I do have a fun comment I'd like to read.
Yeah, let's hear. What do they have to say?
All right, I just wanted to read this. It says, Rogvald J. Dandy, dude, can you finish a sentence before you jump in mid-word to another, please? And Rongvald, I'll tell you, what I can do is, what I was thinking the other day is that I love lunch, and we have another topic we're going to go to, but yes, I can do that, Rongvald. Also says, if you're going to avoid or not like a franchise because of its creator's behavior, I have some bad news for you. You won't be watching anything out of Hollywood. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a difference between, I do believe that there are no unproblematic people. Like, every single person, yes, they're human, they have flaws, they're going to have issues.
Yeah.
I do also believe that there are degrees, though. I do believe that you can draw lines, and I do believe that you can try to move forward. And honestly, I'm not sure if this is going to sink Joss Whedon. It depends on so many things. Mm-hmm. But we'll just see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts? It's pronounced Ronald. Okay, I got you, Ronald. It's spelled interestingly. There's a G and a V in there, but I got it, Ron. Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So after the controversial topics, we're on to what we're watching. Are you watching anything, Mia? Watching any TV, movies, any books, playing any video games?
I got a chance to check out the Will Ferrell Eurovision movie. Have you heard about that one?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams play two Icelandic singers, and they really want to get into Eurovision, which is like the continent-wide competition show, sing competition that happens in Europe. You know what? In my review, I gave it a not so great score, but it's only because it's like it's not like one of those classic Will Ferrell movies. I feel like he's kind of moved on from his awesome days, you know, like with Anchorman and Talladega Nights and Step Brothers. He's kind of like reached just okay point. And I felt like that's what this movie was like, but I think people will still like it. It's like, you know, he's goofy. He's got a really weird, really terrible accent. Pierce Brosnan in it though. He plays his father. And
really?
he has the best acting in the entire movie. And I'm like, I think this is a little too good of acting for this type of film. I was like, oh wow. And then Dan Stevens of, you know, Downton Abbey, Beauty and the Beast, plays this just eccentric Russian singer. And it's funny to get to see him be a little goofy and to get on stage and wear all these crazy outfits. So it was kind of, it was funny. It wasn't his best, but I think people still like it either way if they haven't seen it. It's Will Ferrell, so yeah. And for fantasy people, there's a little element of fantasy in there, but I don't want to spoil it for anybody. Mike, you're unmute.
Sorry.
There we go.
It's about like Icelanders, right? In Scandinavia. Yeah. So like, you know, There's always a Viking connection. I saw someone tweet, I forget who it was, so I'm sorry if you are watching this, that Will Ferrell is like in his Bill Murray in the 90s phase when he's like kind of straddling between his old wacky stuff and becoming like a character actor. Yeah. So see how that progresses. I really liked Lisa's comment here. I think for fans, just going back to the discussion about actors, directors, canceling public behavior, I think for fans it's kind of confusing when so many actors still work with these filmmakers, which I agree with. Is the proper response for an actor to swear off working with someone, or is it to take the check so you can like have a livelihood and feed your family, and then, you know, push forward a more progressive agenda in ways that you can? Because I mean, like, you got to eat, but then like we're discussing like major, but like Ray Fisher is not really a major actor. As I said, like it was his first screen role. I think it's complicated. Yeah. And I think it's always a tricky quagmire to navigate. And I do believe that there are no unproblematic people who are just complete saints. But just because someone is maybe not an ideal paragon of virtue 24/7, you still take everything everyone says seriously and give it, you know, the respect it deserves.
Yeah.
And then you make your decision. I do disagree with you when you said the court of public opinion is kind of like a court of law. I do feel like we're pretty good, at least in the Twitterverse, in the discussion verse, about we don't really need proof to to condemn someone. Like just yesterday, folk were getting on Christopher Nolan about this whole thing where he apparently bans chairs from his sets.
Yeah.
And today it came out like, no, he doesn't.
Like, no, yeah.
There's plenty of chairs. Like, this is obviously a more serious situation, but I do think it pays to just keep in mind that listen to people who have things to say, but also, like, do the research too. Like, there are angles to everything.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, and Ronald is watching, dove into 80s roots with fantasy schlock like Hawk, the Slayer of Wrath, Beastmaster. I remember that stuff. I watched Beastmaster when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
I just finished up with Penny Dreadful City of Angels, which is this like 1930s film noir supernatural horror show on Showtime. Original Penny Dreadful was a 1890s English Victorian horror show. Okay, now the first season is over. It was very, very ambitious. It was so ambitious, Mia. It's like it's got all these characters. It's like it's about this Mexican American family. One of them's a police officer in the LAPD. His partner is Nathan Lane. One of them joins the Christian revivalist movement going on in LA at that time. One of them becomes a Pachuco gangster. The other is part of a union. There's a German transplant who's a doctor, and he's part of the German American Bund, which is a pro-German organization. This is all before World War II, by the way. But he's not a Nazi. He's a nice ex-German. And he gets involved with Natalie Dormer, who's a demon, who's trying to get him to be worse. And she also plays a Mexican gangster. That was a bad decision, by the way. Shouldn't have done that. They should really recast that part if they have a second season. And she also plays a Jewish assistant to this secretly gay councilman who's trying to get a racist freeway through the Mexican-American part of town. There's so much going on. And there's a goddess of death who's also around, and we get into the Christian revivalist bit. And now that I've seen the whole first season, it doesn't really come together.
Oh, man.
I always like that it had so many, just so much it was trying. I appreciated that. And for a while I was I wonder how's it all going to turn out? And it ends up just kind of didn't. It was pretty messy. But it's so committed, I did kind of like it for that. And apparently, they definitely end on there's more to come. I sort of doubt if it will, just because I don't think many folks were watching. And it really was quite messy is the word I keep wanting to say. But good actors, good directing, just swinging for the fences with all of their might. And maybe not quite hitting it, but I appreciate the hustle.
All right, well,
City of Angels.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot was going on, but I guess hats off to them for trying to pull it off.
As Ronald says, he is recording Penny Dreadful to watch on mass when the whole season is out, and that Natalie Dormer is more talented than we deserve. I agree with that. Natalie Dormer, was really, really good. She plays 4 roles, I guess. And she's convincing in all of them, except the Mexican-American gangster. That was what are you doing?
Yeah, I know.
Someone had to tell you that was a bad idea. Surely someone said that. Everyone was really good.
That's good.
Nathan Lane was the best. Is the most I've liked a Nathan Lane role in a while. He plays a Jewish detective who's trying to stop the Nazis from behind the scenes. Just again, a lot of fun raw material that maybe make it through the processing stage.
All right. Well, good to hear your kind of overall review. I can't believe that's over already.
Right? It seems like yesterday. I wonder if it started when we were still in the office. No, I think by the time we've been out of the office for so long now. It's also, I want to mention again, I'm trying to watch that Perry Mason show, which is also well made, and again, set in the exact same time, exact same place, exact same themes as Penny Dreadful, which is kind of weird. And finally, I started to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender again on Netflix, which is, have you seen that?
No, that has it's my generation, but kind of just slipped under me. So I never I know there's a lot of people I know who love it and just never it's nothing I watched.
I think you would like it. My instinct tells me you would like it. It's a really good, again, very easily digestible, kind of a sweeping half-hour epic.
Yeah.
That, I
mean, I was going to say, my sister started watching it. She's younger than me. And so I would see if I'm over there and around the house, I've seen a couple episodes recently. She really loves it. And so I'm I won't say it. It's not bad from what I've seen.
It definitely builds. I recommend it to you, Mia. I recommend it to anybody watching who hasn't seen it. As Ronald says, have you guys seen The Last Kingdom? I am watching it now. I'm finally getting into it, Ronald. I put it off for a long time. I always knew it was supposed to be great. I'm now watching the first season. I'm getting through it, so we're going to do more of that. And I like it a lot. It's definitely rich. And also, I still love what we do in the shadows. It's just getting better.
Yeah.
it's just improving on the second season. Definitely watch that. Half-hour vampire show can do no wrong. All right. Anything else? Anyone who's watching want to share? Mia or anyone else watching there? Ooh, Lisa says that she's still trying to finish Midsummer Murders. 21 season, only in season 9. That should take you a nice, healthy amount of time, Lisa. Best of luck to you.
Oh, yeah.
And Terry says Poldark. Yeah, you're on Poldark either. All right. Any other thoughts, Mia, before we go off?
Oh, no. For all the, I guess, American listeners out there, we've got Independence Day coming up, so happy Independence Day to everyone, 4th of July.
Yeah. Stay safe, stay masked, etc., and so forth. No gatherings more than, 600 people. Try to keep it under that. Whatever your state allows. And if you want more videos, articles, prizes from us, I'll just drop a link to the Wit Club in here. We can buy a Wit Club t-shirt and get on the list for articles, videos, and prizes. And Lisa says, I'm so glad you're enjoying what we do in the shadows. I knew you would. It's so good. It's so fun. I'm like halfway through season 2. What are we? Werewolves, not swearwolves. I'm sure that's a line from it. I don't recall it yet. And we'll be back next week, Wednesday, for... it's cool, Ronald. Back next week, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, here on the Winners Coming Facebook page, for more vital Take the Black Live discussion. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.